was 21 weeks when I got my UK job, and guess what? I still qualify for the maternity pay. Now, if a job until I'm pregnant, I'm wondering, first of all, if you should tell your employer, or if you qualify for the maternity pay, then this video is for you. In this video, I'm breaking it all down, the UK maternity system, how to apply, and how to get paid. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Frida here. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you for joining us, and if you're a returning subscriber, you guys know I love you so much. Welcome back. And today we'll be talking about UK maternity pay system, because I've received lots of questions on this. I did a post on my Instagram, and that post has blown, and the views are like 100 and something K views right now, and there have been so many comments on that video and even on the subsequent ones that I made about the maternity pay. And I get it that so many people are confused on, the calculation, or whether or not they actually will qualify for maternity pay in the UK. This is not legal advice. This is just general information. There's a disclaimer in this video that this is not legal advice. So let's start with the elephant in the room. Am I legally obligated to inform my interviewer that I'm pregnant during interviews? Now, in the UK, you are not legally obliged, you're not legally obligated to inform your interviewer during interview. If you're in that situation right now where you're like, I don't know if I should even mention this thing, maybe you've just gotten interviewed and maybe there's a next stage, they've called you in for the next stage, or maybe you're going for your onboarding process, and then you're like, I don't know if I should actually let them know right now. And then on the other side, it's a dilemma actually, because on the other side, you might actually be thinking, if I tell them, I don't know if they're going to like rescind the offer, like if they're going to withdraw the offer, or I don't know my fate when they actually hear that I'm pregnant. Yeah, I get you. Like, I really get you. I still ask myself those questions in my head, right? But all the same, what I would still say is that you are not legally obligated to inform the interviewer that you're pregnant during interviews. And this is what I did. I never informed them while we were interviewing. We did the first stage of interviews, and the second time, they called me that they would like to have a second interview with me, and I was like, okay, that's fine. And to tell you the truth, the interviews actually happened online, so I was actually at home, in my home office when I did the interviews. Now, you may want to consider yourself like, okay, so yours was online. What if I'm going into the office and I'm already like heavily pregnant? It doesn't mean that you won't be interviewed because you're pregnant, but the only thing that I must point out is that if you are heavily pregnant, like it's so obvious that you're pregnant, it might be a disadvantage even without you telling them, and that's not like to make you discourage you from going for the interview, but I'm just saying the obvious thing. I'm just saying the obvious thing, like if you're heavily pregnant, like your belly is like protruding, it might be like an unconscious bias, right? Even if they wanted to offer you the job, because they have already seen, I'm not saying that I know anyone that's done that, and I'm not saying that they would want to do it, but I'm just saying we all know unconscious bias is like they've seen that you're pregnant, like heavily pregnant. So I feel like when it comes to doing interviews online, there's this advantage with pregnant women doing interviews online. I think most interviews are being done online, so it kind of like removes that unconscious bias when it comes to pregnant people. And to tell you the truth, when I mentioned that I was pregnant, they were actually surprised because I did not look pregnant. When did I tell them that I was pregnant? Did my interviews, did the first round, second round, then I was informed that, wow, I got the job. Informed them during my onboarding process. So I had 2 weeks onboarding, like training and stuff like that. So in essence, what we're talking about is that you are not supposed to be discriminated on the ground of you being pregnant, or mentioning that you are pregnant. The second question is, should I inform my employer once I'm pregnant. So obviously, if you're already in an employment, it's good actually to inform your employer so that they can, get ready, start preparing themselves for like your cover, your maternity cover, and you can now start looking at which maternity pay you qualify for. So now we're going to be talking about the UK maternity pay system. Different ways in UK that you can be paid your maternity pay. The first one is the statutory maternity pay. Maternity pay, that's SMP, is paid by your employer for up to 39 weeks. So basically, I'm going to be going to the Gov website and explaining things for you. Normally, your maternity leave is 52 weeks, and it is made up of the ordinary maternity leave, which is the first 26 weeks, and then the additional maternity leave, which is the last 26 weeks. You do not have to take 52 weeks, but you must take 2 weeks after your baby is born, and then for factory workers, 4 weeks. So back to the SMP, that's statutory maternity pay. That one is paid by your employer up to 39 weeks. So what you get here is 90% of your average weekly earnings before tax for the first 6 weeks, and £187 18 pence, or 90% of your average weekly earnings, whichever is lower, for the next 33 weeks. Remember, it's paid for 39 weeks, so by the time they calculate it to be 39 weeks. So obviously they'll be the one to do the calculations. 90% of your average weekly earnings, they will be the ones to do the calculation, so you don't need to bother your head about that. How can you be eligible for the statutory maternity pay and the maternity leave? The first one is you are an employer, not a worker. So you must be, I know someone asked me that question, I'm an agency worker, blah 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 blah, and you've worked with them for like 8 to 9 months. It doesn't mean that you are employed by them. You must give your employer the correct notice. Correct notice will be at least 15 weeks before your due date. Even with the fact that I gave correct notice, I wasn't eligible for statutory maternity pay, which now takes me to the next eligibility criteria. You must have worked with that employer continuously for at least 26 weeks. Qualifying week. Now the qualifying week is the 15th week before the expected week of childbirth. Just count backwards, right? So baby's coming out on the 20th of April. Now count, because it's usually like Sundays, so 20th was on Sunday, so now count Sundays backward. You count it backward, it gives you around, I think, the 5th or the 7th of January. What you then do is ask yourself, as at these dates, I worked with my employer for 26 weeks continuously. The answer for me was no. I had not worked continuously for 26 weeks, right, with my current, like with them. You can see that made me disqualified for it. So, but that does not mean that you will not get a maternity pay. So just follow me, let's continue the video. Next thing is you must give at least proof of your pregnancy. So basically you would get a MAT-B1 form of certificate from your midwife showing that you're pregnant, show your due date. If you're not eligible for SMP, employer must give you form SMP1, that's the rejection form, explaining why you cannot get SMP within 7 days of making their decision. Now you may be eligible for maternity allowance instead. So what it goes to say is that you cannot be paid SMP and maternity allowance at the same time. So like we said, if you did not qualify for the SMP, you may actually be eligible for maternity allowance. You could actually get maternity allowance if you are employed but cannot get the SMP, like I mentioned, or you're self-employed in the UK, or you've recently stopped working, or you take part in unpaid work for the business of your spouse or civil partner. You can get maternity allowance for up to 39 weeks. Same thing with the SMP. Now the remaining parts of your leave, your 52 weeks, will not be paid. You can apply as soon as you've been pregnant for 26 weeks. So if you've been pregnant for at least 26 weeks, so it means that once you're 26 weeks pregnant, you can start applying for maternity allowance. Claim for maternity allowance, you will need a maternity allowance MA1 claim form. It's on the Gov website. So just what you do is you either print it and fill it in and then send to their address. So you post it, or you fill it in online and print and still post it, okay? Or you could actually order a form if you cannot print it. In my case, I was able to fill it online and then I printed and then posted. So if you click on it, it takes you to the maternity allowance claim form itself, the note sheet for maternity allowance claim, then the test period calculator. If you go down, there is the test period table from August 2023 to December 2025. This table actually shows you those calculations that you're not able to do, because obviously some persons are confused. So if you go to the table, so 20th of April is our due date. So I've seen 20th of April here. So if you go there, it says it says the week that includes the date the baby is due. You can see that it's 20th of April, right? All these answers are answers to the questions in the maternity allowance form. Make sure to read the notes sheet, like go through it and see the areas that affect you and read on it so that you can get more understanding before you fill out the form. Yes, this is how to actually calculate it. I hope I've been able to answer the questions that you guys have asked, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any more questions, please put it in the comment section, and make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe.